What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Friday? Going to wrap up a big draft reaction week with the visit update on Tyler Boyd, former Bengals wide receiver under Brian Callahan the last 5 years, and was in town visiting with the Titans on Thursday, left Nashville without a contract, will start on time. Next time, maybe. I was reading a comment. That was a weird, read a comment and it comes out my mouth. But yeah, maybe next week we'll start on time better. That's my fault. But we'll figure out what happened with Tyler Boyd in his draft, his visit. Good Lord. This is a great start to the show. I'm all kind of frazzled this morning. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving pieces that has led to a fantastic clean open by me. But Tyler Boyd's visit, he leaves without a contract. We'll discuss the big deal, small deal, or no deal part of that. Then we'll dive into JC Latham a little bit more. And one ESPN draft analyst says he's built like a guard. We'll discuss that. And then we'll also get to the NFL slander on the Titans and JC Latham before Ain't That Good News and a little new flavor of Ain't That Good News moving forward for the next few months this summer. Sam, welcome in. The ears are slightly distracting as well. So you're paying off the magic bucket. Last week. So nice elf ears for you. I gave you two sizes. They came in a 2-pack. Are these the big ones or the small ones?
Yeah, believe it or not, these are the small ones. Wow. The big ones were like double this size. But I feel like it would have been really distracting had they been out to here or something like that. So we are going with the small ones. Ears are very distracting. We power through anyway. We have a good show and some fun topics to talk about before we wrap up the week here. So make sure you share the show before we get into it this morning. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button in the bottom right corner. If you're watching on YouTube, take that YouTube link, send it to a friend, find a Titans fan or a football fan in your life, introduce them to A to Z Sports. Make them a every morning type of listener, type of chatter here. Get them involved every single morning by doing so before we kick things off and have a great conversation on a Friday morning.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome in to A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, our Titans reporter for A to Z Sports.com, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8-ish on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show, every segment on our Twitter X timeline. That's at A to Z Sports. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more Titans content. As Sam throwing up, was at the Spock fingers.
Yeah, live long and prosper.
Yeah, I see. That's something that somebody said the other day. I need more sci-fi in my life. Yeah, I did not know that's what that meant, but I did know it was Spock. So let's thank our sponsors before we get going officially, because they make everything happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go to make them a part of your new car buying process. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans and get a link, get a quote today by using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. So Sam, yesterday, Jack and I talked a lot about Tyler Boyd visiting the Tennessee Titans. I think we asked a couple of questions that I want to get your thoughts on before we get the update on Tyler Boyd's visit with the Titans. But we did see that this report from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN that Tyler Boyd in LA visiting the Chargers earlier in the week. It was in Nashville yesterday visiting the Titans, and then we'll get the update on this. But you wrote on A2ZSports.com what this could mean for Treylon Burks, and I said that this was a Treylon Burks insurance move by bringing Tyler Boyd in because they've seen Burks on the practice field in OTAs. They've gone through the draft, waited until the 6th round, pick 182 to get a slot receiver in Jaquan Jackson from Tulane, and now they bring in Tyler Boyd. Adam Kaplan, quote, tweeted our show yesterday saying the Titans had interest in Boyd to play the slot before the draft, but the understanding is that Boyd wanted to wait until after the draft. So, Sam, what's your thoughts on the Titans overall bringing in Tyler Boyd for a visit to potentially play the slot in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is ultimately reflective of maybe where the team views Treylon Burks' role. I don't necessarily I'm not going to say Brian Callahan is lying about how he feels about Treylon Burks or that he's putting on a front. I think it's possible that the Titans are excited about the progress that Treylon has made this offseason. But if they bring in Tyler Boyd to this team, it tells you that they view Treylon Burks as a wide receiver 4 who has a very specific skill set to potentially be a deep threat for them and stretch the field, but not somebody that they're going to view as a 3-down type of wide receiver. Tyler Boyd would be your everyday slot. And so, I think that the Adam Kaplan quote tweet there is very accurate. I've heard links between the Titans and Tyler Boyd dating all the way back to the NFL Combine, and that was just the name that continually got brought up. Now, I do think Titans fans need to be somewhat understanding of what they're getting here and what Tyler Boyd is at this stage in his career. I spent a lot of time talking with some NFL coaches at that NFL Combine just about Tyler Boyd and the potential connection to the Titans. And I was told a couple of things. He got a lot worse in 2023 with somebody who looked like he significantly lost a step, really unable to get open against man coverage now. And he just does not win one-on-one against his defender. What is he good at? Well, he has pretty good hands. He knows how to find spots within a zone defense and pick them apart by getting open that way. And he's great for a locker room. Those were some of the things that I was told about Tyler Boyd, a guy who teams viewed as a 1-year potential fix, a plug and play sort of 1-year veteran that helps out your room a lot and can be good against zone coverage and just be somewhat consistent in the slot. But you're not getting the 1,000-yard guy that Tyler Boyd was in 2018 or 2019 or whatever it was. You were getting a guy who is significantly declined from his prime at this point in his career. Now, I think it makes sense for the Titans to do, though, because the Titans are one of those teams that have a couple of number 1 receiving options with DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley, and they're a team that needs to add a bona fide slot option. I don't know if they see Treylon Burks playing in the slot. I think Jaquan Jackson is, you'd be lucky to have him be a productive slot receiver at this point. And I'm not sure what Kyle Phillips can bring that we haven't already seen before. Those all feel like lottery tickets. And Tyler Boyd is a hedged bet against your lottery ticket that the Titans, I'd be all for bringing in.
So I remember talking to you, I believe, Sunday after the Combine and getting some of those updates from people you talked about and kind of holding that in the back of my mind. And we've seen, the first, 7 to 8 weeks of players being available in the free agent market and Tyler Boyd really having no chatter about him. I mean, it's been really quiet about Tyler Boyd. And I wonder if that was by Tyler Boyd's choice because of what Adam Kaplan said. But what did you make of that Adam Kaplan update? Who shout out to appreciate him quote tweeting our show yesterday, talking about the need for Tyler Boyd or a guy like Tyler Boyd for the Titans, and him saying, yeah, there was interest before the draft. And as I ask you this question, I'm halfway curious on if the Titans felt confident about their ability to add somebody like Tyler Boyd going into the draft, making them more comfortable to wait until pick 182 to address wide receiver.
Sure. No, I think it checks out a lot. It makes sense from Tyler Boyd's perspective, especially if you're a guy who is like specifically a slot in this point in time. Like the last thing you want is to go sign with the team and then have them draft somebody that they didn't think would be available for them in the draft. And you're cut out of opportunities at this stage in his career. I think Tyler Boyd wants to go somewhere where he can potentially win and definitely can contribute and get targets. And so, you're looking at the teams that he's visiting with, the Chargers, the Titans, 2 teams that probably still have a need at wide receiver. The Chargers definitely do. The Titans probably do. And those are 2 teams that if he signed with them, he would be in that top 3 wide receiver trio where he could get those targets and whatnot. So it makes sense for him to try and wait. And I also would not be surprised, and I'll remind you of this, Austin. Rand Carthon mentioned safety specifically as one of those positions that they felt like the market was going to move after the draft. But I don't necessarily think that was the safety market alone. The Titans felt like they had a pretty good understanding that veteran free agents were going to not sign in like the 2 weeks leading up to the draft, and then a bunch were going to come off the board once the NFL draft prospects had their homes and knew where the openings were. So maybe they did feel good about a Tyler Boyd. Maybe that did contribute to why they didn't go for Rome Odunze in the first round, why they waited all the way until round 6 to take a wide receiver, and why the wide receiver that they did take is probably most valuable as a returner than he is as an offensive playmaker.
Yeah, I hope. I get your point, but I hope the potential of adding Tyler Boyd was not what made Rome Odunze not the pick at 7 overall.
Sure. But I mean, it comes down, and Brian Callahan talked about it a little bit afterwards, was just like need is a factor ultimately.
Sure.
And when you look at what the Titans have at offensive tackle versus what they have at wide receiver, you know, if you didn't love a prospect like Odunze, like, you know, above JC Latham, like you might have a Marvin Harrison or a Malik Neighbors, then you just take your biggest need.
Yeah. All right. So a couple comments here before we get to this update, because I did see John brings this up, that the Chargers did in fact sign wide receiver DJ Chark last night. So that's
Chark and Josh Palmer and Ladd McConkey now is the Chargers receiving.
I don't think Quentin Johnston and DJ Chark mean that the Chargers are, quote, fine, as John says, at wide receiver. I think there's a lot of issues. Josh Palmer, he's a good third option. Ladd McConkey, obviously a unproven player, but a high prospect that people feel good about there. So I don't think the Chargers are, quote, fine at the wide receiver position, but it does feel like them going and getting DJ Chark, who is not a slot. DJ Chark, not a slot receiver, where Tyler Boyd is a slot receiver. So it doesn't eliminate Tyler Boyd from going to LA, but it is another receiver resource that the Chargers did add. So here's the Tyler Boyd update from our buddy Paul Kaharski covering the Titans. Tyler Boyd has left Nashville with no deal with the Titans, but there remains interest. So the quick update from PK there, no contract from the Titans to Tyler Boyd, or no deal, right? I don't know if there's an offer, but no deal was made to the Titans and Tyler Boyd, but interest is there. Very similar to what we all went through last summer with DeAndre Hopkins, who visited in early June during CMA Fest. And then you have a whole month passes before D-Hop signs. I don't know if we're going to be on Tyler Boyd watch like we were D-Hop watch last summer, but that's the update there. So, Sam, let's go to the chat and ask this question to everybody. Tyler Boyd leaves this Titans visit without a deal. Is that a big deal, small deal, or just a no deal? A big deal, small deal, or no deal for Tyler Boyd visiting the Titans without a contract? Sam will throw that in the chat. We'll get to all of your opinions. Maybe I'll throw up a YouTube poll here in a second. But first, Sam, you talked about him during the draft broadcast, and they're here with us all summer long. That's Holiday World and Splash and Safari, just north of Nashville, Holiday at Santa Claus, Indiana. Get the summer started with the best savings online at holidayworld.com. And they have a brand new ride called Good Gravy, the new family-friendly coaster. Good Gravy is a first like no other in the world roller coasters themed after Thanksgiving dinner to go along with the Holiday World overall theme. And Good Gravy is open to the public for the first time May 11th this upcoming summer, and riders will board and sit in a train shaped like a gravy boat, perfect for the whole family to go through, reaching a max speed of 37 miles per hour. And you don't worry about it. You can get ride height minimum is 38 inches. So the kids can go on this one as well. It is perfect for your family weekend trip, just a couple hours north of Nashville in Santa Claus, Indiana. Great value. There's always free soft drinks, parking, and sunscreen with great variety. Over 40 rides and slides with something for everyone in the family. Award-winning roller coasters and water park. Holidays in the Sky drone show has 500 drones this summer. So check them out online for tickets at holidayworld.com.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM and get up to $1,500 back in the form of a bonus bet if your first bet doesn't win. You sign up, use that bonus code ATOZ Sports with the King of Sportsbooks, and if your first bet loses, it's up to $1,500 back and a second chance to win big. So do your sports betting this season with BetMGM.com.
Man, lots of chats coming in. Bork says my daughter's only 36 inches tall, so don't assume. Hey, you still got a couple months to take advantage of the summer, and you never know. Maybe she'll get to 38 inches, or maybe you just kind of do the tiptoes or have a little taller shoes this summer at Holiday World for good gravy. All right, so Sam, I will send you the chat. I'll also simultaneously go to YouTube to put up that poll. Big deal, small deal, or no deal that Tyler Boyd leaves his Titans visit with no deal in place, but the interest still does remain. Sam, what is the chat saying here?
Jimmy says no deal. We got no deal from Bob, small from Ashley, small from Nick, no deal from Hello Ladies, Steve, Titans Kyle, Maserati Mac, and Brian. We got a small deal from Andre and from Brandon and from Galen, and a no deal from Eric and Christian and Apollo. David says small. Guy says no deal. Tighten Up says no deal. Billy Jones says no deal. Small deal from Brad. Small deal from Willie. Small deal from Titans Rossi and David. Paul says small deal. No deal says Darius and Boyd and Katie. Demario is on no deal. Daniel, Adrian, Deborah, no deals. Linwood says small. Jake says small because he's still not a Titan. Richie says small. Highway Rambo says no deal. Jared says small. So we are split between no deal and small deal, Austin. I'd
had
say
a feeling, we talked in our pre-show meeting, had a feeling it would be between small deal and no deal.
Which is good. It's good that nobody's overreacting.
Yeah, Johnny says no one should bat an eye over Tyler Boyd. Pass, right? Pass. So read quickly. You think it would be a good move for the Titans to bring in Tyler Boyd, but if they can't get it done, it's not going to be the end of the world, right?
Me? You're asking me?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think, I don't think this is the end of the world if they don't get Tyler Boyd, but it is. Sure. I'll take more experienced football players with history of having good seasons that can potentially be productive. If Tyler Boyd can add some competition and add another option into the slot, I'm all for it. But yeah, I don't think this makes or breaks them by any means. And I'll go one further. The fact that he hasn't signed a contract with the Titans, no deal. Okay. Don't care. We see this happen all the time. I mean, you talked about DeAndre Hopkins just last year. He left Nashville without a contract. I'd almost say I'd be more surprised if he left Nashville with a contract than somebody who comes in and visits and weighs their options still. We don't know what the level of interest is from the Titans. They might have brought him in and checked him out and went through some workouts or whatever and not loved what they saw. The level of interest from the Titans, unknown. Boyd's level of interest, unknown.
But again, I think the Adam Kaplan thing was interesting, right? Like the Titans were interested in Tyler Boyd to play slot for them before the draft. Sure. And they thought that Boyd wanted to wait, and other teams knew that he wanted to wait until afterwards.
No, my point is, Boyd could have not looked very good because of what I said, right? A lot of people feel like he might have lost a step. Maybe he didn't impress in his workout. I don't know. The point is that the fact that he doesn't have a contract right now doesn't mean anything to me, because he could still end up with a contract next week or today, or he could not end up with a contract at all, because we've seen the Titans bring in guys for a visit this offseason that they have ended up not signing. And some guys that are still on the free agent market, like a guy like Marcus May, already came in for a visit with the Titans weeks, maybe even over a month ago. He was in Nashville, did a visit with the Titans, and has not yet signed with a team. So there's plenty of time for this to play out, and this is a no deal for me.
Yeah. MB says he has lost a step. I don't know why Austin's panties are in a knot. What have I done today that makes me think of my panties?
Yeah, I don't get that
one. MB, chill. Get out of here with that. That's insane for you to have that take of what I'm just kind of asking a question. I think the fact that the Titans were interested in Boyd before the draft means something to me. If anybody knows that Tyler Boyd has lost a step, it's the head coach of the Tennessee Titans that has watched him for the last 5 years go from a 1,000-yard receiver all the way down to a 600-yard receiver, and that's gone one step down each and every season. And that's because of other circumstances like T. Higgins being a second-round draft pick, like Jamar Chase being a top 5 draft pick. And I think here's the other thing too, is we put up these stats about Boyd and Burks from 2023, and you see Boyd played in 17 games, had 667 yards, 2 touchdowns. We have to remember who the quarterback was for a lot of those games in Cincinnati last year with Jake Browning, which is not exactly the best opportunity for wide receivers to have the best seasons. So I'm not saying it's a big deal that he left at all without a contract. You say no deal. I actually am going to say small deal, but for a different reason. I think the fact that the Titans did not feel the need to come to terms means that they are still wanting to figure out, and a priority for them is to figure out what they currently have beyond Ridley and D-Hop. Like we know they're going to rely heavily on 0 and 10 this season from Will Levis. I want to see, and I said this yesterday when Jack was on the show, I would almost rather the Titans not bring in Tyler Boyd, so you know for a fact if you have anything in Treylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, and others behind Ridley and D-Hop. I think it's worth knowing the answer. And this was what I said yesterday, Sam, when I kind of get your thoughts on this, that the worst case scenario for the Titans after this 2024 season is if you're still maybe on Will Levis, right? You want to know either he's the guy or you're drafting a quarterback.
Yeah.
No gray area. I think for Treylon Burks and Kyle Phillips, you want to either know they've got something or move the hell on. You don't want to see another gray area. And I think Tyler Boyd, bringing him in, would create gray area for those two. Or maybe it just tells you move on. If they bring in Boyd, I feel like they're moving on from Phillips pretty quickly. If they bring in Boyd and Burks can't do anything, then we know Treylon Burks' days are very limited too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My counter argument to that would be that, like, respectfully, Burks and Phillips have not earned that right in my eyes. They have not earned the right to give you an answer and prevent you from signing veteran players at their positions. Like, we're going into year 3 now. Both have been massive disappointments. Both have failed to stay on the field. Both have shown flashes at times, but even when healthy most recently, have just not been very good. If I'm the Titans, I can't owe Kyle Phillips and Treylon Burks an opportunity to assert themselves as my slot option or as my wide receiver 3. You have to bring in competition to improve your football team and put yourself in a spot. So, I mean, if you're Kyle Phillips, if you're Treylon Burks, if you want to leave no doubt that you are an option and the best option for this team as wide receiver 3, do it in training camp, do it in practice, do it and be better than Tyler Boyd and earn your spot that way. I'm not sure the Titans can operate under let's not do what's best for Will and what's best for the football team because we want to honor giving Treylon and Kyle a shot to prove themselves.
Well, I'm talking about right now. Like, I'm talking about the month of May and June.
Can you not assess those guys in May and June with Tyler Boyd on the roster?
I mean, you could, yes, but I think if the Titans were like, oh, God, we really need some receiver help, then they probably go ahead and sign Tyler Boyd while he's in Nashville and say, we'll see you, May 20th or whatever their next veteran OTA is. And again, there's the other thing too. There's like 2 full weeks before the veterans are back at OTAs on the practice field.
And Rand said after the draft, they want to get the free agents that they're going to sign. They want to get them in here because they want to get them into Brian Callahan's offense.
But Tyler Boyd has been in Brian Callahan's offense for 5 years. So I think there's a little bit less urgency there. I think that's why it's a small deal for me, because there isn't, by not signing him while he's here, it shows me that the urgency isn't like at a desperate or super high level, that they're more okay and comfortable with letting it play out. And so that's why I'm in a small deal, because that means something about what they have right now.
Well, no, I don't disagree with the idea that maybe them not having a sense of urgency is a sign that they're intrigued by what they have right now, or maybe they're using it as a negotiating tool, right? They're pointing to guys that they have as a negotiating tool. Boyd's trying to see what he can get elsewhere. Boyd's trying to negotiate. I mean, it was mainly, you said you'd almost prefer they don't sign him so that they could check out Phillips and Burks, which that's kind of what I have a problem with. Because I think
that's based on you saying that what you've heard is that Boyd's lost a step. He might be great. Like, I think if they bring in Tyler Boyd, I think his best role would be, and I said this yesterday too, his best role would be bringing along younger guys like Burks and Phillips and anybody else in that room that wants to soak something up, and not have Ridley and D-Hop use their energy on bringing those young guys along, because they got to go catch 80 balls for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns each.
Yeah.
Like that.
I mean, I like the depth. I like the idea of having somebody who's done it before and is more or less a sure thing. Like, you don't know what Tyler Boyd fully is because of that idea that he may have regressed over the past few seasons and may be continuing to do so. But he is at the very least productive against zone coverage, and he's at the very least very good in the locker room. That is what I heard NFL coaches rave about with this guy, while they also said, hey, it sucked to see last year because TB, he wasn't the guy that he used to be. They also talked about this is somebody who's going to be awesome for your locker room. Like you mentioned, in Cincinnati, he went from being the number one wide receiver to Jamar Chase being drafted, T. Higgins being drafted right after one another. And he took it in stride. He's filled into the wide receiver 3 role. He has, played his part in building a very successful organization with the Bengals. He was part of going from the number 1 overall draft pick, where they took Joe Burrow, to building the team into a Super Bowl contender and a team that was playing in a Super Bowl. So Tyler Boyd, I think, brings a lot of that veteran leadership to a room that is valuable for those guys, that, can be helpful for the culture of this team moving forward, and hopefully translates into some on-field production. Now, for me, that's somebody that I'd want to get in here as soon as possible. Like, if the price is right, get him in here. We don't know what Tyler Boyd's asking for. That's a variable that we can't equate for here.
Yep.
But overall, like, I like the idea of this, and I don't want my statement of like, hey, Boyd is not the same guy that he used to be, to turn Titans fans off from wanting this, because I do think he can help them. It's just about where our expectations need to be for him as he, becomes a Titan maybe.
All right, so we asked the question, big deal, small deal, no deal. Tyler Boyd leaves the Titans visit without a deal. That's from Paul Kaharski. I'll go to my YouTube poll that I had up. It's about 11 minutes old. I'll keep that rolling a little bit. But big deal, 10%, right? There's some out there. There's some out there that have done big deal on this. Not a lot in the chat, but some right there on the YouTube poll. Small deal is second with 35%. That's where I land. And then no deal is at 55% to add up to 100. That is where you are at, Sam. So we'll continue to monitor the situation on Tyler Boyd and what else that comes with the Titans wide receiver depth. I do have a nugget, Sam, that I will tell you after the show about what I learned yesterday about maybe what we can start preparing for this 53-man roster based on what the Bengals had been doing the last 5 years. But that's for you and I at this point in the season, in the offseason. So I'll tease that for everybody. But here in a second, we're going to play a comment from an ESPN draft expert about JC Latham that I found interesting and that was a little bit more negative than what others have been. And we'll get to that here in a second. But Sam, first tell everybody about our great friends at the Bone and Joint Institute.
The Bone and Joint Institute, they're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust, and you don't want to fumble on your recovery. Go to the Bone and Joint Institute, located in Franklin, right off of the highway, for a state-of-the-art rehab facility to assist you in your recovery. It's all under one roof at the Bone and Joint Institute. No driving all over Middle Tennessee to get to different appointments for rehab, clinic, imaging, surgery, testing, and more. Go visit our friends and schedule your appointment at boneandjointtn.org.
And with BetMGM, Sam, this one's for you because you can hit the Grand Slam jackpot with BetMGM, score a $50,000 bonus bet jackpot when a player you bet on to hit a homer slugs a Grand Slam. Simply head over to BetMGM and place a home run prop bet for any of this weekend's games. And if that player goes yard with the bases loaded, you'll win a share of $50,000 in bonus bets on top of your wager. So if they hit a home run, you still win. They hit a Grand Slam, you win, and you win big. So take advantage of great home run odds, new ways to enjoy all 9 innings with more same-game parlay options and exclusive signature bets found nowhere else. Log into the BetMGM app or create your account and place a bet on a player to knock it over the fence this weekend. Swing for the Grand Slam jackpot this season with BetMGM, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new and existing customer offer. Subject to qualification, other requirements, rewards, non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. And for problem and gamble support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. So, Sam, let's go ahead, unless you have a home run hitter bet right now that you think you should do. I'll let you think on that.
Haven't looked. So yeah, I'll have one for our next live read.
There you go. All right. So let's get to this video. Matt Miller on Ramon, Kayla, and Will on the Zone yesterday talking about JC Latham. And is he built more like a guard? That was an interesting comment from Matt Miller. Here's the clip.
I am not smarter than Bill Callahan. I do not want anyone to think that I think I'm smarter than Bill Callahan. However, I've been doing this a while as well. I've evaluated a heck of a lot of prospects. You know, I do know what I'm doing. So I think it is a good landing spot. My confusion comes from the fact of drafting someone who's never played left tackle a day in his life, who also played last year at 360 pounds, and movement was his struggle, in saying, you're going to be a left tackle for us. He's built like a guard. I mean, he truly is. I mean, everything about him. He was the strongest offensive lineman in the class. When he gets his hands on you, he's shutting you down. Absolutely. But, 18 penalties in college. That's a problem for me. 27-game starter at right tackle. Never took a snap anywhere but there. And I think there were times there were lapses in effort. You can look at the last play of his career as kind of a point to that of, you get run over by a dude that weighs 237 pounds. You weigh 360. Why is that happening? He allows way too much inside pressure. Now, can Bill Callahan look at him and say, hey, this is my Orlando Brown Jr.? Maybe that's the mindset here. I would argue that if you're drafting in the top 10, you should probably aim higher than Orlando Brown Jr. as your left tackle. If that's the gold standard, our standard is wrong. We need to reevaluate what we're looking for at offensive tackle. So we'll see, man. I have a ton of respect for Rand Carthon. I have a ton of respect for both the Callahans. I always say this. I hope I'm wrong about these things. When you say you don't like a pick, you hope you're wrong, because that means that the player and the team have, achieved a level that you didn't expect they could. So Titans fans, I hope I'm wrong. I didn't think that this value was really good.
First off, iMovie absolutely failed me. I had Matt Miller, ESPN draft analyst, via RKW/1045 The Zone, and it didn't save. And we got stuck there for over a minute and a half with name description. That is BS. That is not, it saved. I don't know what happened with that, but yesterday we had some graphic issues. Today, iMovie fails me. It's a Friday, so next week will be better when it comes to technology. But Sam, a lot to unpack there. Obviously, Matt Miller said he hasn't played left tackle a day in his life, when he has. So that was an oversight from Miller. I think he was more tongue-in-cheek than, because I do think that something you did in high school shouldn't really carry much weight for something that you need to do in the NFL, right? Like, that's so much of a big step Like, yeah, I played box safety in high school. That doesn't mean I can do anything in the NFL. Joe Alt was a quarterback as a freshman and sophomore in high school, but that doesn't mean anything about what he's going to do in the NFL, right? So, like, there's a little bit of that. Like, I don't like, does it matter a tiny little sliver of bit that JC Latham played left tackle at IMG Academy? Yeah, a little bit. I think it's the fact that he's done it before and he had to learn it. I think the fact that JC Latham learned defensive line and left tackle, and then he learned right tackle, means that he's capable of adjusting and being coached and learning and playing at a high level. But I'm not going to like put all my stock in, he played left tackle in high school. Because guess what? The best lineman at every high school is going to play left tackle. And most of them played guard or center in college. Got a friend, played 8 years in the NFL at center and guard. Guess what he did in high school? Left tackle. Guess what he didn't do in college or the NFL? Tackle. Like, it does not matter that much. It does mean a little bit of smidge because JC Latham can at least learn something. That is my point on that. But built like a guard, and then, penalties, movement. He talked later about Nick Saban wanting their O-line to be bigger. So he was at 360 pounds this past year, where he was at 340-ish, 330-ish. Before that, that was more like an Alabama, like we did not get pushed around kind of a deal. Let's add weight up front. So what are your overall thoughts there, Sam, about that comment from Matt Miller?
Yeah, so I do generally agree with your statement. The high school football thing doesn't really matter. Ultimately, different NFL teams and different analysts have different philosophies when it comes to the right-left tackle swing. Obviously, right tackle is becoming more important in today's NFL, but left tackle is still top dog. Now, some people believe it's easier than others to make that transition. And the Titans, Brian Callahan in particular, and Ran Carthon are two of the people that believe it's somewhat easier to make that transition because a lot of players do cross train now. I saw Bork had a comment earlier. Want to give some shout out to Bork. JC Latham did practice at left tackle at Alabama. That is something that we do know, and Ran Carthon cited when they drafted him. So I do think that's a bit of an exaggeration on Matt Miller's part to say that, like, JC Latham is not going into this situation blind. He is familiar with what it takes to play left tackle and the techniques of left tackle, and he hasn't perfected it and done it at the NFL level. But I think the Titans have a lot of reason to have confidence that this can work. Now, if it doesn't work, I do think there's a problem with the value of the pick. If this is a right tackle that you're getting at 7th overall. But I also believe that the Titans and that guy, Bill Callahan, who Matt Miller admitted was smarter than him, has done his due diligence on this tape to believe that this is possible and that this is a move. I also think, and this is something that, we talked about on the draft live show when we were reacting to this pick, a lot of the things that you can critique about JC Latham, things like penalties, things like allowing some inside leverage at times. I don't really see the movement argument. I think JC Latham actually moves phenomenally, like top tier movement for a tackle. So I don't see what his argument is there. That's a guy who can really, really displace run lanes and like clear out run lanes with his movement off the line of scrimmage. So I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with his strength. Like Matt Miller said, if he gets his hands on you, the rep is over. Like you're done for. He's that strong. But a lot of the mistakes and the negatives of JC Latham are things that I think are very correctable, that are teachable, that the Titans probably believe that they can help him out with. I don't really care as much about your size as much as I care about your strength and your ability to anchor. I think JC Latham can anchor. So I do think he's going to be minimum a very good right tackle. The question becomes, how easy is it for this guy to cross train over to the left side? And how does that affect the value of the pick? So I hear that argument, but built like a guard, can't move, penalties are a problem. I'm not as worried about that.
I don't think he said can't move. I think it was more about movement being a little more limited than can't move. Does that make sense?
I mean, I suppose I see that.
Well, I remember Mike Martz in the clip that we had about Latham, and I believe Martz said something along the lines of, if I'm coaching this kid, I'm going to work him on speed guys because that's where he's a little concerned, or Latham's not as confident with speed guys.
I guess, when you're looking at that, you're looking at movement as far as getting out to an edge rusher that is like a speed rusher, like you're mentioning. Yeah. I kind of view movement, and I guess I was thinking of movement as more of his ability to get off the line of scrimmage as a run blocker, get a couple yards down the field and block down the field, which I think he does very well. So in that sense, I think his movement's very good, but maybe side to side movement against edge rushers needs some work. Sure.
Yeah. And again, I've talked a lot about like what I believe JC Latham's ability is to be coached and to change and learn new positions. And I said this earlier in the week to Zach, is that JC Latham has lived up to it. He was the number 3 overall recruit coming out of high school, the number 1 in the state of Florida, and the number 1 tackle prospect in the country, playing left tackle at IMG. He goes to Alabama, plays a lot of games as their starting right tackle, and then becomes a top 10 draft pick, and is now, so he's lived up to high level hype throughout the last 5 years of his life. That makes me feel confident that JC Latham will put in the work and has the ability. And I think when it comes to the biggest difference between right tackle and left tackle, or right guard, left guard for linemen, is footwork. And the fact that JC Latham needs footwork help means that I believe that you're going to have to coach up his footwork regardless. So now you're just coaching it up on the left side instead of the right side. This isn't like he was a perfect, graceful footwork guy in college that is a finished product. This is a traitsy guy, big, mauler, strong, powerful, that just needs the technique work. And so I think it's easier to change that type of player's position than the polished technician changing positions, because it's more going to break down.
Yeah, and a guy who has a chip on his shoulder for that very reason. I mean, he mentioned some of his motivators and triggers that would get him angry to play football games at Alabama, and it was always, why am I not playing left tackle? That pisses me off. Let me go block somebody. And so this is a guy who clearly wants to do this and who will be very motivated to make this happen. So I think that that's a good thing for the Titans as they try and train Latham up to be their left tackle week 1.
Yeah, hit the like button here on the show, on Facebook and on YouTube. Need way more likes. Facebook, you can do better.
I just looked at the like number. Facebook is struggling today.
Facebook absolutely struggling.
Pathetic performance. I'm gonna be honest, bad performance out of Facebook.
Yeah,
like really bad.
YouTube. Typically, more people on YouTube, which means more ability to. Here's another thing Matt Miller said. Cedric Gray has a lot of missed tackles because Cedric Gray has a lot of tackles. He's in on a lot of plays, right? So YouTube, more people watching, more likes naturally, but I think we can get that percentage a little better for both Facebook and on YouTube. So hit that like button, please, there. So I did see one thing, is Devin mentioned a comment on the takes plays off comment from Miller, including his last snap in his college career. I don't have a visual image of that last snap that he's referencing. But what did you think of that comment from Matt Miller on Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also unfamiliar with that play in particular. And that's not something I've heard about JC Latham. That was the first time I've heard a question about like his motor and taking plays off. So I'm not super well informed on whether or not that's a legitimate concern or not, but something to monitor, I guess, moving forward as we get into watching JC Latham play football at the NFL level. Is like, is this something that recurs and that we need to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I agree. The first time I've heard of it too. So from what I can tell, motor guy was just mauling people, ending reps because he gets his hands on people. So yeah, I'm not truly sure what that means either. All right. You spoke of a trigger, Sam, of not being a left tackle in college was a trigger and a motivator for JC Latham. I think the NFL just gave JC Latham another trigger to be motivated by. We'll get to that here in a second. But first, A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa is where you need to go for mom this Mother's Day season. It's right here around the corner, less than 10 days, 9 days away from Mother's Day. So make sure you don't fail on Mother's Day and you get a guaranteed win on Mother's Day. And that's A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. All you have to do is go to momentspeace.com/mom and get a gift card. Because if it's $50, $100 more, whatever you want to do, however much you want to spend on mom, she will be able to take advantage of that full dollar amount at A Moment's Peace Salon and a day spa because they're fantastic. I've mentioned that I've been going for couples massages for years to A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Honestly, I feel like I'm due for another one after this draft season. So maybe I'll need to book up on the calendar here soon with my wife. And so you guys should do the same thing for mom, whoever mom is in your life, whether it's your mom, your spouse, your girlfriend, your fiance, the mom out there, grandmother, aunt, whoever is mom for you. Make sure you treat them right and you don't miss out on Mother's Day. It's so easy. Go online. You can email the gift card. You can mail it. You can walk in Cool Springs right off of Carruthers and get the beautiful presentation of a gift card there too. amomentspeace.com/mom. Look, you're muted.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Austin, you asked for my home run pick today.
Yeah, who you got?
Let's go out to the Bronx. And give me Juan Soto to hit a home run today against Reese Olson and the Detroit Tigers. Reese Olson has not given up a home run this year, but Juan Soto has 2 career at-bats against Reese Olson and has 2 career home runs off of Reese Olson. Little short porch in New York in right field there. Juan Soto's been on a bit of a heater recently. Yankees looking good. Keep the streak going. They will win, and Juan Soto will hit a home run off of Reese Olson. So that's the pick today. Place it on BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. Get up to $1,500 back if your first bet misses with the code ATOZ Sports with the king of sportsbooks.
Juan Soto, you're our only hope. Juan Soto, only hope right there for home run. I like that. All right, so let's get to this because the NFL's official Twitter account tweets yesterday a record 8 tackles go in the first round. Never before. The most tackles ever drafted in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. 8 tackles. Wow, like strong arm emoji. And then they had this video to go along with it.
With the 5th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Joe Alt, tackle, Notre Dame. With the 11th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Olu Fashanu, tackle, Penn State. With the 14th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Talaise Fuaga, tackle, Oregon. With the 18th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Amarius Mims, tackle, Georgia.
Here we go. And with the 20th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Troy Fautanu, tackle, Washington.
There you go.
With the 25th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers and hosts for the 2025 NFL Draft select Jordan Morgan, tackle, Arizona. With the 29th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Guyton, tackle, Oklahoma.
Forgot one.
So, if you count, the tweet said 8 tackles in the first round, a new record. That video had 7 announcements. So, I don't know. I mean, there is no excuse for this. Because it's not like the NFL has to limit their Twitter videos to 90 seconds, which that one was. And the fact that 7 of the 8 were shown there, and they missed out. It's not like the Titans were the 8th tackle selected.
No,
It
that's
was
what
the
I'm saying. Is
second tackle.
if you're going to cut one out, you cut out Tyler Guyton at the end there. You take the guy who you show the dude who was taken in the top 10 and who was at the draft.
Yes.
Gave the commissioner a hug.
A big one, like lifted the commissioner off of the ground, off of the stage. And that's what Rhino also says. Even if they cut to commercial, they still have the footage of Goodell announcing the pick. Like that still happened. They have that. And so
they don't just like show it on the screen like they do on day 3 of the draft for a team picking in the top 10. Like the commissioner does an announcement, which I wasn't watching the draft broadcast all that thoroughly because we were live. So I guess, did the draft broadcast not show the announcement of the Titans pick at all?
So I don't know, because I was at a rehearsal dinner, as we all know. So and this has been a thing where for years that it always feels like the broadcast goes to commercial when the Titans are on the clock. Like it just feels, it's like clockwork. They go to commercial. But at the 7th overall pick, you're still early in the draft enough. It's just the 7th damn pick to come back from commercial for the announcement of the selection. When you're on day 2, maybe in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and absolutely on day 3, go to commercial, announce the pick, flash it up there, do the chime while they're on commercial with the pick. That's fine. But the 7th overall pick, crazy.
Yeah, Ashley says they went to commercial, then came back and did it. So then you do have footage of it. Like the video of the commissioner announcing JC Latham exists and was recorded and was televised. So you have that, and it should be in this video. I don't know. That's a bad oversight. Some intern may be getting fired for that somewhere, because that's tough.
Yeah. It's it's obvious to me when I look at the 7 of the 8 tackles drafted, they involved some pretty obvious type brands. Los Angeles, New York, New Orleans, that market, the Bengals, right? As of late.
I mean,
popular.
It's just the teams that I don't think it's about market. It's just the teams that took tackles and they left the Titans out.
Right. But like, again, 7, like let's think of the 7 different brands. Los Angeles, New York, New Orleans, big TV markets for the NFL. The Bengals, sexy because of what their offense is. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, 3 of the biggest national fan bases in the entire league. So it's either big, important city markets, the Bengals that are currently sexy, and the 3 biggest national fan bases. That is the other 7. And the Tennessee Titans missed the playoffs the last 2 years. Small market, nobody cares. Poop all over them. The NFL, that's inexcusable from the actual National Football League's Twitter X account to do that.
I mean, it's just lazy. It's just lazy. Whether it's an oversight, whether it's intentional, whether it is whatever it is, it's like just tweet about all 8, show all 8. Come on. Like it does you no harm, like you mentioned, to have an extra 15 seconds in that video of Goodell reading JC Latham's name. Now, should Titans fans be like weirdly offended by this or whatever? No, it's not a big deal. Who cares at the end of the day? But it is lazy on the NFL's part, and I think is maybe a slight microcosm of some of the treatment the Titans have gotten from the NFL and just like the national pundits in general over the last few years and 5 years and maybe 20 years and forever, that this is what the Titans have been. And this is like a representation of that more than it is just like something that actually matters.
Yeah, that's like what the hell? Like that was so uncalled for. Like nobody. Yeah, why? What a weird thing for the NFL to just completely mess up. All right, we've got some super chats I want to get to on both the wide receiver position and some of the JC Latham conversation that we've had so far this morning. But shout out first to Farm Bureau Health Plans. You can plan on them for all of your health coverage needs. If you want to save money and have better coverage, Farm Bureau Health Plans is absolutely where you should go. And you can get a quote today by using our link at fbhp.com/ATOZ. They've been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years and continuously invest more and more across this entire state to make sure that you are in the best situation possible, because things happen and you never want to be, I don't know what to do, right? When something happens and you know you have coverage you can trust, whether it's health overall, dental, and vision, Farm Bureau Health Plans. Once again, get a quote at our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
One more time, BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports to sign up with BetMGM and get up to $1,500 back in the form of a bonus bet if your first bet doesn't win. That's a second chance to win big. You place your wager, whatever that amount is, it's back into your account in the form of a bonus bet if you lose when you sign up with the bonus code ATOZ Sports. So get with the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM.com.
All right, some super chats here on the show. King VC must be taking a day off. Haven't seen him in the chat.
That's why we're
today.
short on likes, because King VC's not here today.
Yeah, we're not having our like arm help us out there. So Supreme Nick comes in early in the show, says, how is Nick Westbrook-Akine's job more secure than Traylon? Facepalm emoji. Traylon has to step up. I mean, it's fairly simple for me, but I don't know if NWI has more job security than Traylon Burks. At this point, I feel like Traylon Burks might be slightly more likely to make the roster than NWI. Because I have a hard time.
They're both going to make the roster.
I have a hard time seeing Traylon Burks get flat out cut.
Yeah, no, not going to.
I think there is I think there is a path to NWI not needing to be here. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying there is a path.
I would say Traylon has a little bit more security, because there's no world that I foresee where Traylon is cut by the Titans. And I guess there is a world where NWI is. I would say maybe it's a 2% chance. Like, I feel like he has his role carved out a little bit more clearly than Traylon, which is why NWI is not really the topic of discussion. He's a guy who's going to contribute on special teams. He's going to be a good blocker down there. He knows where to be. He'll be your wide receiver 4 at best, 5 at worst, and just kind of work into the rotation when he's really needed. I think he makes this team, but I don't necessarily foresee him getting cut. But that's why we don't talk about NWI in this conversation, because it's almost an assumption, right? NWI is not going to be your slot receiver, so he's not as relevant when talking about.
I think he could be. I mean, Brian Callahan mentioned him when you asked him the question about wide receiver. He brought up Kyle
did he?
Yeah, he said Kyle Phillips, Nick Westbrook-Akine,
that's right,
Mason Kinsey. That boy KB on YouTube says they paid NWI.
They did give him. I mean, they did pay him, but
not really. 1 year, $2 million. I don't have the contract terms in front of me. It didn't pop up from Spotrac, but $2 million is not paying somebody. It's something that they could get out of if need be, and it's not like the Titans are making roster decisions based off of their salary cap space, because if they cut NWI and he's got $1 million of dead money, they'll eat it. Who cares? They already got the most dead money in the league anyway. So that was Nick's super chat of how NWI's job security more than Traylon Burks. Andre comes in and says, I swear if the Titans draft another guard at the top of the draft, or much less passed on Rome for a guard, I'm going to blow a gasket. I trust Bill's expertise, though.
That would be bad. That would be very bad. If JC Latham was a guard, that would be really, really bad. It'd be a very bad start to Rand Carthon's tenure as GM if he went guard in the first round with the 11th and 7th overall pick back-to-back years. I don't think
it's like the Peter Skronsky guard pick. If Peter Skronsky continues to play well and develop into being an every down guard that you can build around, I don't think Rand gets any hate on that, because at 11th overall, that was the right move to go with Peter Skronsky. At 7th overall, a guard when you had other things on the board.
Other tackles like Fashanu and wide receivers like Rome and tight ends like Brock Bowers. If you come away with
back
the guard,
options.
Yeah, that's right. They had phone calls as well. Look, I agree with Chef Ran here. Dude has 35-inch arms. He's a tackle. sign me up for that. I agree. I think he's a tackle. I don't see this JC Latham being a guard. I'm just saying it. In the wild scenario that he ends up being a guard, that's a really, really bad pick, like really tough look.
I think JC Latham could be a damn good guard. Like, I think he could play it at a very high level, but I think he can also be a very good tackle. I think the worst case scenario is that JC Latham is a right tackle for the next 4 years, 5 years. Right?
That's the worst case scenario is that he's a right tackle. I'd much rather him be a right tackle than a right guard.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's going to get any. I don't think it's going to be realistically. I don't think it's going to get anywhere worse than him being a right tackle for the next 4 to 5 years.
Sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up this week and this Friday show like we always do with good news. If you have good news to share, hit it in the chat. Let's go. Good news. Good news for the next 3 months, brought to you by our summer friends at Holiday World Splash and Safari. You can always go up there and get their award-winning roller coasters and water park just a couple hours north of Nashville this summer for the whole family. So go ahead and start looking at that calendar and getting your tickets for a great value, 40-plus roller coasters, award-winning park at holidayworld.com. Sam, it is good news time. Good news time. So hit up your good news here on the show. So I'll either let you go to the chat or you start with your good news, whichever comes first for you.
Yeah, Sports Fan says he's aerating the lawn today, which is good news for dad life for him. Got good news from Matt. Matthew says it's his 37th birthday. Happy birthday to Matthew on his B-Day, spending some time with A to Z. Appreciate you tuning in. Jeff says, good news, Liverpool jersey and shirt are coming today, and he's locked up the Champions League qualification for next year. So, I told myself I was going to get into the EPL, and I just haven't. Yeah. I just haven't. But good for Liverpool. Good for Jeff. Happy for Jeff. Let's see what else we got. Ethan says, good news. He's avoiding the downtown Nashville traffic monstrosity this weekend at all costs. What's happening? Is it just the Preds that is like the traffic? What's going on?
Dude, Morgan Wallen's second concert is tonight.
Was there one yesterday?
There was one last night.
Okay, that explains it. My fiance was driving home from work yesterday and said that traffic was horrible around Nissan Stadium and something was happening there, and she didn't know what it was. So Morgan Wallen played in Nashville.
And insert chair joke here.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
there you go. Okay, so Morgan Wallen and the Preds today, that's a nightmare.
And something else, but I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. Let's see. Good news. If Tyler Boyd said in the Titans, I can get a jersey with my name on it. Yeah, there you go. Boyd Young can get a Boyd jersey, which would be pretty cool. Let's see. We got good news. Finally catching a live show, says Dalen, Titan up from Utah. Heck yeah. There we go. Let's see. Danny says good news. Taking the missus out on an all-day date Saturday, going to see a movie, out to dinner, and then to watch some bull riding because she loves it. So that sounds like a full day of fun for Danny. Austin, do you see any other good news you want to throw up here?
Ty asked if A to Z has a promo code for Holiday World. We don't. It's just really good prices already. So you just go to holidayworld.com. There's nothing else you need to plug in there, but great for the whole family. This is their second summer with us. Nashville's a great market for Holiday World. And so you guys can go check out Holiday World with their new rides that they have coming up. Opening this summer. I believe they open May 11th, which is just a little over a week away. I did see some other good news. EZ, who says BMO here. Wife and I celebrating 18 years. So shout out to BMO, longtime guy here on the show. Did you get to Ryan's yet?
I did not. I don't think so.
It's Kentucky good news. Ryan Fields, my good news. Mark Pope in Kentucky added the best returning three-point shooter in college basketball. There you go. Man,
I got to get to Demetrius's here.
Okay.
He says it's Cinco de Mayo weekend and asks, and I'm throwing this up here because I do want the chat to tell me because I love some Mexican food. So what's the best Mexican spot in Nashville? What is the best Mexican spot in Nashville? I go to Chipotle very frequently.
That doesn't count.
But like, it's obviously Tex-Mex kind of a vibe. And
that's not what he's talking about.
Demetrius I know. But I'm saying I enjoy that style of food. I don't like some of the mainstream like Satco's, and I mean they're fine, right? But like this is again,
That's also
what we're
not
talking
Mexican
about.
food too. Satco
No.
is literally Tex-Mex, San Antonio taco.
What's the other one? Bar Taco, whatever, right in 12 South.
I like Bar Taco.
No,
also,
see, that's
doesn't
not what we're looking for.
It doesn't
Like,
apply for Cinco de Mayo.
if I have to spend more than $10, this is not what we're talking about. I need an $8 burrito that nobody's ever heard of. So I need those recommendations.
So I would say Rose Pepper is going to be a hot spot in East Nashville. Okay. Rose Pepper, phenomenal. Good luck getting in. I also think there's several Las Palmas around the area.
I love Las Palmas. I go a lot.
That's an easy one.
Cilantro's right by my apartment, so I go to Cilantro a good bit. I don't like Baja Burrito. American Tufts is Baja Burrito. That doesn't
count. That's not the same category. That's in your Moe's and Chipotle category.
That's a fast casual Mexican spot, which does not count as an actual Mexican spot.
Yeah. Taco Mamacita from Tiffany, good. In Germantown, a little bit not what we're talking about with a little bit more year round. Like we're talking about like the cheap, great Mexican restaurant.
Hole in the wall Mexican spot that, they make it fresh and it's as good as it gets. There's a lot of them in Chicago and I've got my go-tos and I haven't really found one in Nashville yet. That's what
the one that I grew up in high school is under a new name, and I don't know the new name. I have not been there since they had their new name, but formerly known as Mazatlan in Brentwood. Phenomenal. I don't know what their new current name is, but if you know, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm seeing some good suggestions here. I see Amar says just go anywhere on Nolensville Road. When my parents were in town, they went and got Mexican food on Nolensville Road, and they were just like, "Yep, it was awesome every time. It was awesome." And like
La Hacienda has, I think they still got some places. Oscar's is pretty good. There's a lot of great places, and Cinco de Mayo kind of snuck up on us there.
Yeah. And Jay says Greek food on Nolensville Road as well. I used to live right off Nolensville Road, so I got Greek and Mexican on Nolensville regularly. I tried every Greek spot there was right there and, enjoyed it. All right, good news for us. I think we got a similar good news here, Austin.
Probably.
Yeah, so we're going to the install live tonight with Buck Rising, Greg Cosell, and Rand Carthon. Going to be fun. Yes,
we're going to be battling that traffic, fending off all the Morgan Wallen fans, and also look, Preds fans. The Preds game starts at 6. The doors open for the Install Live podcast with Buck, with Greg Cosell and Rand Carthon at 6 as well. So we'll be down there. Luckily, it's at the Hutton Hotel, a little bit further away from Broadway. So I think we'll be okay when it comes to the traffic from Bridgestone and Nissan Stadium. That's going to be
there. Patrice is going to be there.
I saw Karen, I think, said earlier in the show that she was going to be there too. So, we've got a pretty good A to Z contingent coming tonight as well. So, Zach will be at Nissan Stadium. Shocker, Zach going to Morgan Wallen.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, right. So, Zach will not be in attendance. Buck was a little bit nervous about the Preds game and the Morgan Wallen concert, but this Install podcast sold out like 2 weeks ago. So, shout out to Buck. Appreciate us being able to be in the building tonight, and it'll be a fun night. They're not just talking about the draft pick. I've helped talk with Buck a couple of times with some planning with what the content aspect is going to be tonight at the Install show. Going to spend a lot of time on Calvin Ridley and L'Jarius Sneed with Rand Carthon and Greg Cosell as well. So not just the draft class, but those two veteran additions to the roster too. So I'm really excited about that tonight. And so, Sam, I'll see you there in a few hours, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a great night.
If you are there, come say hey. We'll be mingling around, getting some drinks at the bar under Buck Rising's tab. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Buck did not ask me to do that, so that's a joke. You didn't hear that. But anyway, hit that like button. You didn't hear that. So hit that like button on your way out the door. Make sure you like the show before you go, and subscribe to our channels and our Facebook page if you haven't already. If you're going to install tonight at the Hutton Hotel at the Analog, we'll see you there. If not, we'll be back on a Monday, but have a great, safe weekend across Nashville. Tons of things to get into this weekend in Nashville. And so we'll see you guys on a Monday. Appreciate it as always.